And hello to everybody on Zoom. Hopefully this camera is a better angle than the one that we've had the last few times. So thank you all for joining us. Does anybody have any announcements they'd like to give to the larger group? All right. Sarah, come forward.
I'll just stand right
here. You can stand and speak as the spirit moves.
Just as a reminder, the Skyward Symphony will be performing on May 5th at Abravanel Hall. It is free. No tickets are necessary, but there are like 2,000 seats to fill. So please come. It's going to be an amazing performance with the symphony. And I'm in it, so.
Has to be great.
Skyward Symphony. Yeah, I'll try to remember to post it onto the Facebook. But I have ADHD, so if somebody could just like smack me a few times to remind me to put things where they belong, yeah, that would be great.
Awesome. Thank you. Yes, Karen.
Yeah, I'm very pleased to announce that both congregations, the UU Church, of course, and First Presbyterian, have approved us having a Girl Scout troop here, and we'll be starting in the fall. In June, we will have a speaker here from the Girl Scouts and a table at coffee hour. They'll also be doing announcements over at First Presbyterian when their service starts, because we'll be looking for leaders as well as girls. Will be pre-K through second grade to start with, and if the troop gets too big, then we'll split them into two separate groups. But right now, that's very exciting. And so you can see me after service if you have any questions.
Thank you, Karen.
And
yes, Joseph.
I sing in a choir called Salt Lake Choral Artists, which is going to be presenting Verdi's Requiem, which is a big masterpiece that it's so big that it takes a lot to perform it, a lot of forces. So there'll be a vocal orchestra, 200 plus voices, and this is at Libby Gardner Concert Hall next weekend. So that's Friday and Saturday. And there's a lovely flyer. I think it's
Joseph, while you're back there, could you close the door?
Yes.
Thanks. Sorry. While you're up.
This is Libby Gardner Concert Hall at the University of Utah. So if you know where Kingsbury Hall is, it's just to the, I guess, the west of Kingsbury Hall, the building immediately west. There's a beautiful flyer. But the tickets are available at saltlakechoralartist.org. So this is one you don't want to miss, because next time you get a chance might be 20 years. So sure. So I hope everyone will be there.
Any other announcements? All right. So just a few reminders. Codger Coffee meets Fridays at 9:30 a.m. at Grounds for Coffee at 30th and Harrison. The book club is scheduled to meet the first Wednesday of each month at 7 p.m. Yes.
Third Wednesday.
The third Wednesday of each month at 7 p.m. Thank you. Here at the library. So different genres are planned for each month. And I think you can just, if you want more information, I think you know who to ask. All right. April this year has 5 Sundays. And so that means that next Sunday, April 30th, will also be an in-person service like today. It will be our annual Flower Communion service, welcoming the arrival of spring. We look forward to it and hope you're all able to attend. Remember, after the service today, we'll be having coffee time in the gymnasium just right across the parking lot. And be sure to take part. Both long-timers and newcomers are welcome. The UU Church is an open, tolerant place where diversity of thought is encouraged and appreciated. It doesn't matter who you love or how you identify yourself. We think for ourselves, want space where we can ponder spiritual questions on our own terms. We ask questions, value the exchange of ideas, and want to hear from others. There are a range of beliefs among those here. Generally, though, we believe in caring for the planet and for each other. We are a lay-led ministry, which means the messages come from everybody here. Everyone here adds to the atmosphere, and we're all glad you're here. Now for our singing bowl. Joseph? Today's chalice reading is called A Place of Belonging and Caring by the Reverend Kimberly Ann Tomsack Carlson. We seek a beloved community, a people who do not put fences around love, a community that holds its arms open to possibilities of love, a heart home to nourish our souls and share our gifts. May the light of this chalice flame remind us of the love surrounding and supporting all. May we each feel held by the gentle and fierce power of this love. This morning, our chalice will be lit by chalice. And please join me in saying the chalice lighting words within the order of service. We light this chalice for the warmth of love, for the light of truth, and for the energy of action. Thank you, chalice. Now please all rise, embody your spirit for our opening hymn, number 1008 in the soft back keel hymnal, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. When our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, where we trust the way down, every color, every breathing, and we sing in our faces and each other's heart. And our heart is in a holy place. Our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place. When we turn our soul in our feeling side, and we listen for love and love, and we hear our voices in each other's way. And our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place. We are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place. We stand beside the sacred space, and the God of our heart, and we feel the power of each other's faith. A holy place, when our heart is in a holy place. We are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place. The Unitarian Universalist Association has supported full equality for gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, and queer people since 1970. The church has conducted services of union for same-sex couples since 1984. And in 1996, the General Assembly passed a resolution urging member congregations to proclaim the worth of marriage between any two committed persons and to make this position known in their home communities. According to the Unitarian Universalist Association website, we not only open our doors to people of all sexual orientations and gender identities, we value diversity of sexuality and gender and see it as a spiritual gift. We create inclusive religious communities and work for LGBTQ justice and equity as a core part of who we are. We have a proud tradition at the UUCO of doing our part to build a beloved community along these lines. And Marilyn Johnson would like to tell you more about it. Marilyn, thank you, and please join us at the pulpit.
Deep breath. Tim Vandenack asked me to talk about ways UUCO has supported the LGBT community over the years, and I jumped at the chance because one of the things UUCO did was very exciting to me, and I'm going to tell you all about it. Outreach Resource Center was a support group for gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender youth, sponsored by the Unitarian Universalist Church of Ogden, and conceived, organized, and administered by its members during the 10 years from 2004 to 2014. In the early 2000s, UUCO had a minister named Matt Cochran, whose partner, Chad, was a teacher in the Ogden public high schools. Chad noted that there was no place for LGBT students in these schools. And of course, the UUCO members and leaders were very well aware of the high rates of suicide, attempted suicide, and homelessness among LGBT youth here in Utah. So, with these facts in mind, in 2004, UUCO held a formal visioning session, which led to the creation of Outreach Resource Center. UUCO member Roxanne Taylor became the chairman and creative head of this new organization. She obtained a grant of $26,000 from the Unitarian Universalist Association, or UUA, which is the national support group for Unitarian Universalist churches. And she set about organizing. One of the first things she did was to get a willing and a capable co-chairman, and she asked Evelyn Bertelson if she would fill that role. Of course, Evelyn consented. And when I talked to Evelyn, who has moved to Washington State, according to Evelyn, Roxanne did the schmoozing, or lining up donors, writing grants and other high finance undertakings. And Evelyn did the day-to-day work of running the organization. Outreach was granted nonprofit status and recruited a board of directors from the LGBT community here in Utah and their allies. In August of 2005, they hired Gary Horenkamp as project manager and eventually program director of Outreach. And it was decided that UUCO would open the doors to the fellowship hall in its church on 23rd and Madison every Wednesday after school for young people from 14 through 17 to drop in for games, a meal, and just hanging around with peers. This was the original vision for Outreach, a drop-in center for LGBT youth and their allies, with doors open every Wednesday at 3:30 and closing at 8 p.m. As time went on, Gary built a group of dedicated volunteers who helped him operate the weekly drop-in days. He networked with the local homeless shelter system to find spaces for gay kids who needed a place to sleep. With UUCO Minister Teresa Novak, he advocated at City Hall for equal rights in Ogden. Outreach expanded to include adults who met from 3 to 8 o'clock in a different part of the building. Outreach received national recognition from the UUA in the form of a video highlighting outreach, which was shown to other UU churches. The then UUA president, Peter Morales, said, "As you can imagine, there was nothing like it in their part of Utah." During 2009 and 2010 alone, outreach served 135 youth and young adults. Dinner was pizza most evenings, until Evelyn convinced Gary that the kids would be better served if he put all his efforts into programming and allowed her to be responsible for the meals. And she did make a fine chef. She created wholesome casseroles and soups served with a fresh salad, which I made most Wednesdays, and of course dessert. And sous chef duties were shared by a group of volunteers, and there were other ways to volunteer at outreach too. And if you were one of the volunteers at outreach, would you please stand up and be recognized? A lot of us, yes, thank you. Gary Horenkamp directed outreach for 6 years until August 2011, when he left outreach and moved to Texas with his partner. Gary told me when I spoke to him that a high point in his life is when he receives a call from a former outreach kid thanking him for the support that may have even saved his life or her life. Marion Edmonds, now Marion Edmonds Allen, became the new executive director in October 2011 and served in that role until 2014. Under Marion's leadership, outreach thrived. In fact, outreach actually expanded into at least four other northern Utah towns: Logan, Brigham City, Tremonton, and Clearfield. Hugh Salt Lake, which I'm sure you recognize as Utah's LGBTQ news magazine, featured Marion as their 2013 Person of the Year and credited the growth of outreach to Marion's gift for, quote, wrangling the passion of volunteers and bringing them together. To quote Marion, "My favorite thing is to bring together people with shared passions who don't even know each other." Outreach attracted many volunteers, among them trained professional counselors who made themselves available to the kids who needed to talk to someone. They presented educational programs on suicide awareness and prevention and on building healthy relationships. They facilitated discussions and kept an eye out for safety. Outreach was involved in several initiatives during Marion's time as executive director. One of them was with Starbucks, amazingly enough, which tapped outreach as a test market for a mentoring program it hoped to launch nationwide. Another was with the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, which was testing a healthy sexuality program in conservative areas like Utah. The department was studying community response to the language used by outreach in its programming. Outreach was their only test case. The group leaders also reached out to communities that were dealing with LGBT issues. And one example of this happened in my hometown of Brigham City. Two sisters were working to set up a gay-straight alliance at Box Elder High School. And they found out that the school board was considering closing down all extracurricular clubs as a way to prevent this from happening. So outreach leaders set up a community forum in Brigham City to discuss the issue. The town showed up with standing room only, and ultimately 90 people attended the next school board meeting to support the GSA. According to Marion, 30% of the youth in the program were homeless. Some had been expelled from their homes when they came out as gay or lesbian, and others had left because they no longer felt welcome in the home. Outreach did have a Safe and Sound project, which worked toward preventing homelessness in the first place. And Outreach did partner with Mormons Building Bridges to help keep families of LGBT kids together. But it wasn't enough. Outreach couldn't provide accommodations for sleeping for these homeless kids. It would have required a special license and accommodations, which the UUCO building did not have. So the leaders looked for a place where kids could sleep. When it was found, the outreach program moved to a group called Youth Futures, which was set up specifically to provide sleeping accommodations for young people. I'm going to close by quoting the outreach mission statement. Here it is. Outreach is dedicated to transforming communities and saving lives through our Centers for Youth, community projects, programs, and forums. We specialize in working to prevent youth suicide, homelessness, and bullying, and rally communities to be better. It'd be difficult to overestimate the impact of outreach on the UUCO congregation. We were all in for it. We recognized that lives were being saved, and we were really proud to be part of it. As Reverend Teresa Novak said, there's a real sense of making a difference in the world. The church doesn't wonder why we're here. We know why we're here. It's because there's programs like outreach to do and kids to help as they're struggling with who they are and to help them along that journey. And that's the end of my presentation, but Tim has written an introduction to our speaker that he asked me to read, so I'm going to read that now. Introduction to Encircle and Sean Allsop-Pukahi, who will speak to us about the organization. Encircle launched its first facility in Provo in 2017, and it will soon open a place here in Ogden on Washington Boulevard, just north of 25th Street. Maybe facility is not the correct word. Encircle operations, as described by those with the organization, are more like homes and meant as safe spaces and gathering spaces for the LGBTQ community, mainly teens and young adults. Parents are also welcome. It creates an environment, a home-like environment, where they can feel loved and be surrounded by people who love them, Jed Nielsen said in 2021, when work started on the facility taking shape here in Ogden. He's an Encircle backer and operator of Nielsen Homes, which is helping with the construction of the building here. Encircle teens will, quote, come after school and just be able to hang out and be friends, unquote, Nielsen said. As is, local resources for the LGBTQ community are somewhat limited, say some in the community, and many make their way to Salt Lake City in search of a support network. Weber State operates an LGBT resource center, and Ogden Pride, which also serves the LGBT community, has talked about building a physical location. Encircle, though, is actively taking things further with the brick and mortar location on Washington Boulevard, a high-profile, heavily trafficked part of Ogden. Encircle has received funding from Utah Jazz owners Ryan and Ashley Smith, Apple, and other high-profile donors. Aside from Provo, Encircle has homes in Salt Lake City and St. George, and it has plans to expand elsewhere around Utah and beyond. The facility in Ogden appears largely complete, but let's hear more about it, the plans here from Sean. Sean, you're on. Come on up.
Perfect. First of all, I just want to say a few things, three things. One, thank you so much for having me here. It's such a unique and fun opportunity to be able to share with you all. And, I thank Tim and you all for welcoming me. The second thing I want to just thank, the UUCO for, Maryland shared all the stuff that you've all been doing to support the LGBTQ plus community. And that is meaningful and impactful. And just can't say thank you enough. And, as we were working to help support LGBTQ plus individuals, we know we're just one member of a larger team who's all working on the same thing. So just thank you so much for all that you do. And the third thing, just want to note the welcoming and warm spirit that's here. So thank you so much for making that happen. Like has been mentioned, my name is Sean. I've been working with Encircle for about 2.5 years now, and it's been really a joy and a journey to be able to be a part of this organization. And I wanted to share with you as we get started sort of the reasoning of why Encircle exists, why it got started, then go into more of that history and in Ogden and what we actually do at the homes and what will be here. So with that, I will move forward. As has been mentioned, and the biggest reason of why Encircle exists is this statement here: LGBTQ plus youth are at risk. The LGBTQ plus population growing up is having feelings of rejection, isolation, being ashamed of themselves for a variety of different reasons, whether that's in the home or from the community. They're just prevalent feelings that lead to, unfortunate, things occurring. This is something that we see and we're trying to prevent, about LGBTQ plus youth suicide, mental health. These are statistics from the Trevor Project from just this past year, 2022. 45% of LGBTQ plus youth seriously considered attempting suicide in the past year. With that, 14% of LGBTQ plus youth attempted suicide in the past year, including 1 in 5 transgender and non-binary youth and 1 in 10 cisgender youth. So with these numbers, you see that, nearly half of these LGBTQ plus youth are seriously considering doing such an awful thing and not realizing, what a beautiful life that they can have and from outside factors that are affecting them. And that's something that we want to prevent. And we want all of these youth to know that they are loved, they are perfect just as they are, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with them, right? Just to share a little bit more, 73% of LGBTQ plus youth reported experiencing symptoms of anxiety. 58% of LGBTQ plus youth reported experiencing symptoms of depression. Fewer than 1 in 3 transgender non-binary youth found their home to be gender affirming, and then 60% of LGBTQ plus youth who wanted mental health care in the past year were not able to get it. And again, these are just from this past year. And I know myself growing up as a gay individual in Utah, as I've become an adult and I look at the younger generation, sometimes I'm tempted to be like, oh, everything's great. We're in a different world and, it's way easier to be accepted and all that kind of stuff. But then in my interactions with these LGBTQ plus youth, you hear stories and experiences of bullying at school and rejection from families that just is still happening constantly. And that's what, why we're part of the team and trying to change this and to, again, make sure that these youth feel loved. I put these numbers up here just because studies have shown that an average individual will start realizing more their identity, who they are, their sexual orientation, anything like that around the age of 12. But then it's not until, on average, the age of 22 when they will come out. And so it's within that decade where they're really trying to understand who they are, and they're kind of fighting in silence, and really don't know like who to turn to. And that's when a lot of the outside influences can really affect them, how the community feels about them, especially how their family feels about them. And so that is why Encircle was started. As was mentioned, this is our Provo home. This was the first home that I started in 2017. Our founder, Stephanie Larson, she had seen, these statistics, and again, back then in 2017, even higher, but she seen the statistics, her kids' friends, her LGBTQ plus, she'd hear stories and she was just like, gosh, I can't believe this is happening. And there's, really nothing around. There are obviously some people who are working hard and trying to help out, but not really like a safe space that exists for these youth to go to and feel loved and stuff. And so that's why, when she was looking around, she found this cute home in Provo and decided to redo it with the team and make a home, make a safe space for these youth and individuals. And so in 2017, that's when the doors opened and youth started pouring in and families started pouring in, and it was just pretty incredible to see the support that was there, and the house was filled every day. And they noticed too that a lot of individuals were coming from the Salt Lake County area and driving down to Provo and Encircle, and that got the Encircle team thinking. I was like, well, if we have all these people coming from Salt Lake, maybe this could work too in Salt Lake, and we can find something there. And so then we had the Salt Lake City home. This is our home in Salt Lake, open in 2019. Kind of doing the same thing, copying, having the same programs, redoing this old home, making it a safe space. And then on top of that, we just have started to, see more and more people come from different areas. We actually, both in Provo and Salt Lake, had a lot of people from Southern Utah coming up, to have such a unique thing. And then I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe we can do it in Southern Utah. And so then with that, our St. George home opened in 2020. That's what we've been. And as was mentioned, we have just noticed with a lot of individuals coming from all around the state of Utah, we've really tried to pinpoint where a lot of individuals are coming from and seeing where we can build so that these youth can have this resource closer to their home. And that's why this is our Ogden home, which is going to be built right now. So this is what it currently looks like. And then this is what it will look like. So the Ogden home is pretty unique because it's actually it's a built from scratch home. So it's not an old home that's getting renovated, but it's actually will be our only home currently that is built from the ground up. So we're really excited. We have a Heber home, which is opening in June this year. So our Heber home's opening in June. We're working on the Logan home, and then of course our Ogden home as well, which we are thrilled to be able to be a part of. And I want to thank again you all and the Ogden community. I work with Ogden Pride too and other groups who have just like welcomed us as like a part of the team to help out and to support these LGBTQ plus individuals in the community at large. And I wanted to share a little bit about our mission and vision and what we do and everything. And this top is our motto, what we love to say. We say no sides, only love. And we'll share this message out with everybody. And what it essentially means is we want anybody and everybody to be able to come to Encircle. And it doesn't matter if you you believe this thing, or if you believe that, if you're leaning right politically, leaning left politically, if you're this, that, however you identify, we want everybody to, no matter what you believe, no matter what your side is, quote unquote, that you feel loved. We want everyone to feel loved at Encircle. That's not to say that, of course, if they're, we want to support our LGBTQ plus youth and take their side in supporting and getting more resources for them in the community. But we just want to make sure that everybody can feel loved at Encircle and get the love that each of us deserve, no matter what we believe in. But here we have our mission with Encircle brings the family and community together in conservative communities across the country to ignite conversations, build bridges, and ultimately ensure LGBTQ plus youth thrive. We work toward a day where no LGBTQ plus youth feel shame, unafraid to come out. They're celebrated for who they are. And I want to share a little bit about how we do that and kind of what happens at the home. And so with this is our approach, how we're working to, help support these youth and ultimately, help them feel loved. The first thing we offer at every home is therapy. Those who are in need of mental health services. Every home has a separate therapy wing, so anyone can sign up for therapy and get that support that they might need. We just got a safe space, so we are open every weekday from 3 to 8, so anyone can come after school. As I mentioned, kind of hang out, just have a safe space. They can do homework, they can play games, they can bake cookies, they can do anything like that. So there's that happens there. We also have friendship circles. What it essentially is based on your age and how you identify. You just group together and you talk about life. So we have, some different youth friendship circles. We also have adult friendship circles, transgender friendship circles. So those happen every day at the home and also online, just as sort of like a support group led by a trained facilitator, and just to share about life. And they're really awesome to attend and be a part of. And then we have youth and family programs. So like, as was mentioned, we have programs for parents. We also do monthly dinners for the entire families to come. We know that family is so essential, and having that support in the home is so critical for LGBTQ plus youth. And so we want them to come with their parents, with their siblings, and them to all feel supported and loved. And we also know that coming out isn't just an individual matter, but it is a family matter in a lot of ways, and so we want to make sure that even parents who are trying to support their LGBTQ plus child, that they feel supported and that they have an opportunity to talk with other parents, and they have their own friendship circle where they can share thoughts and all that kind of stuff. And then, of course, we do a bunch of education and research. We have a research library, which is online for those who are maybe looking for support that they can read about different studies, all that kind of stuff. And we want to make sure that, our services are for everybody. And so besides therapy, all our services are free of charge. So we just want anyone to come walk in and be a part of it. Just sharing a little bit more about Encircle therapy. We offer our services to, encompass a lot of different topics, and there are a lot of different, ways of support that an individual can receive the help that they need. And so just offering a lot of different variety of things with our therapists who take great care of our youth who are looking for it. And with our outcomes here, we want to make sure that every youth or individual who walks into Encircle, they come out with these items, with authenticity, with social connection, positive emotional experiences, and improving their psychological and emotional skills. We want them, like was mentioned, we want our LGBTQ plus community to thrive and feel strong individually and as a community. And so this is what we hope to gain as individuals participate in Encircle. And just wanted to share with you all, this is a survey that we've done. This is on about 80,000 different responses. We ask individuals, when they leave Encircle, how they feel about all of these things, about authenticity, social connection, emotional experiences, psychological and emotional skills, and showing that they are improving these and feeling these as they enter and participate in Encircle. I wanted to share with you too, these are the numbers, and I know it's small, so I can read a little bit, but these are the numbers of individuals that we have served. So the first number is 2021, 37,000 roughly individuals. And then this past year, we were able to serve 66,000 unique individuals, and throughout all of our services throughout the state. And what's exciting is that, here in Ogden, it's such a amazing and large community, and I think we're so excited to see these numbers just even skyrocket with having this community be a part of Encircle as well. For these numbers below, 4,600 therapy sessions provided by Encircle. We have an amazing group of volunteers who help us out with 19,000 hours of volunteer hours provided this past year. Every home has multiple volunteers throughout the home helping out in a variety of different ways, and we're so grateful for our amazing volunteers. Like I said, our services are for parents as well, and so we had about 2,600 parent attendees this past year. And so just a lot of exciting things. This kind of shows too, since our opening, what we've been able to do. 17,000 therapy sessions, 158,000 services provided, 60,000 unique guests, and we're just so grateful for the community that has showed up and wanted to participate and be a part of Encircle, and those who want to show up and help and assist. And with that, I have a quick little video just to end that shows a little bit about Encircle, so you can kind of see what it looks like and all that kind of stuff on the inside. So I'll hit play. Hopefully this will work.
I grew up and I attended for 7 years.
I know it'll like my girlfriend. Not sure the best way to do it.
All right, so we'll move to, you go up to new share, and share this, and then share sound here. And then is there a way that we can turn off the volume for your speakers here?
Oh, if I go like the little.
I think so. Let's get them in. It should just come out of the speaker.
Okay, let's try.
Traditional family. I believe that if we
No, I can narrate a little bit.
No.
and he was a leader in Salt Lake City as
Oh,
a restaurateur, as a renovationist.
Yes, I will.
I grew up in Orem, Utah, and I attended BYU for 7 years. I believed in the traditional family. I believed that if we ever had gay marriage, it would probably ruin the moral fibers of our country. And then I met John Williams in 1997. He was gay, he grew up LDS, and he was a leader in Salt Lake City as a restaurateur, as a renovationist, and meeting John changed my life. John was one of the most Christ-like people I had ever met. And knowing him made me question everything I thought I believed. How could I judge this man for his sexuality when he spent his life giving to other people and taking care of others? So I found myself wondering, why is it that John was able to thrive as a gay man in Salt Lake City 50 years ago, yet youth were taking their lives in my community and felt like their lives weren't worth living? It felt like we were moving backwards on the subject, not forward. In early 2016, I called John Williams and asked him if he would help me do something in Provo to help our LGBTQ youth. Many of my children's friends were coming out. Many of my own friends had children who were LGBTQ, and I didn't feel like they knew what to do, and they didn't have any resources. So I called John Williams and asked him if he would help me do something. He said sure, and that was the beginning of Encircle.
Running a nonprofit charity is not an easy task.
And Ron and Mary, this is Encircle. This is a home down here in Provo that kind of serves as a support center for the LGBT community.
So all of the Encircle homes, you'll notice, are very beautiful, and that's very intentional. It is to reflect the beauty of the youth who come here, and it's to help people remember how important they are and that they're worth investing in, and that they're classy, artistic, amazing individuals. Encircle is open every day from 2 until 8. You can come for drop-in hours. We have many programs. We have friendship circles for all different ages and identifications. We have a lot of educational materials, and the core of Encircle is our exceptional LGBTQ therapy. Our therapists are well experienced and well trained at helping LGBTQ individuals navigate what they're experiencing. Everyone can come to Encircle. We hope everyone will come to Encircle. This is a place for allies, parents, brothers and sisters, aunts and uncles, bishops, any church leader, any school leader. We just want everyone to come and learn together and celebrate together. And I think one of the greatest things about Encircle is we put our differences behind and we come together and we say we are here just to love these youth and to learn to do better for them. And I think that's where you feel the love. I think that sometimes in communities, we say things just because everybody says them and we think they're the truth. We hope that in Encircle, we'll look at the LGBTQ community maybe in a different light than we've been told we should. I like to believe that better conversations in Encircle lead to better conversations throughout the communities, at churches, in our schools, and then we all learn how to love better and understand one another better.
Wonderful. Well, with that, we invite anybody who wants to. I know it's a little bit of a drive, but you're always welcome to come to any of the Encircles that currently exist. There's always one of our amazing volunteers at the door who can welcome you, and you don't need to feel awkward or anything. Just walk right in. And then, of course, we're so excited again to be here in Ogden and can't wait for it to open up as we're continuing to work on it. Our builders are going, and we hope to have it completed either by end of this year, beginning of next year, but it's something that we're actively working on. So once it's open, we'll be excited to welcome the whole community in. So yes, thank you again so very much.
Well, thank you so much, Sean, for joining us here today and telling us about the great work that you're doing with Encircle. It's fantastic. Our prayer today is A Blessing of Beloved Community by Teresa Honey Youngblood. May we grant one another dignity, even in disagreement, even in disappointment, even in disgrace, for dignity builds the beloved community. May we be honest with ourselves and with one another, for hard truths, new truths, and shared truths build the beloved community. May we relate to one another with respect for the stories, customs, wishes, rights, and feelings that make us who we are. For this regard builds the beloved community. May we grow kindness in our hearts, even and especially when we feel mean or resentful, for loving compassion builds the beloved community. May we practice humility, shedding ego and moving humbly in the light of the holy that inhabits all. For this quiet strength builds the beloved community. In our diversity of thought, personality, approach, background, body, upbringing, experience, and every other expression of life force among humanity, may we hold one another in our commitment to create the future we need and want together. The dream manifest, the beloved community. As we seek to build our beloved community, we never stop in our reflection. In mulling the great, the good, the not so good, and the disagreeable things in our lives. Even so, use this moment to take a pause, to clear your mind, to relax, and to momentarily unburden yourself. If you have anyone on your mind, speak their name aloud or speak their name to yourself. Join me now in silent meditation or prayer. Amen. Now you are invited to come forward, light a candle of hope, memory, or gratitude. You may also wish to drop a stone of burden or forgiveness in our sacred gathered waters. It can get crowded, but form a line right up here through the center. Now for the calling of the offering. Today, we'll share the plate with Encircle, and so any donations you provide will be shared to support and encourage their good work. We rely on your involvement, attendance, and spirit to keep this church going. It's vital, and we appreciate it. We also depend on your financial support. So please give what feels right and what fits your budget. All donations are greatly appreciated. Can I get a volunteer or two to pass the baskets? Now please stand and body your voice, and facing the center aisle, sing together the offering song printed in your order of service. From you I receive, to you I give. Thank you for giving. This money helps this church, helps us in our efforts to improve the world in big ways and small. And now please rise or remain rise in body or spirit for our closing hymn, Tradition Held Fast, number 316 in the hardback hymnal.
I'll play it through once so you know how it sounds.
As this service comes to an end, remember that the work of building a beloved community is eternal and not always easy. The progress that we've made is built upon the struggle and the perseverance of generations who have come before, and much more work remains. But also, please remember that a beloved community is a happy one, and that our first obligation is to enjoy it and each other while we're blessed to be a part. Now let's extinguish the chalice. The chalice extinguishing words are in your order of service. We extinguish this chalice, but not the warmth of love, the light of truth, nor the energy of passion. Thank you, everybody. And please join us if you're able for coffee and conversation in the gymnasium across the parking lot.